Welcome back, everyone, to the From Israel with Love podcast. This is Ben Kerido coming to you from Jerusalem. And today, the topic of our conversation is how Israeli higher education proves that Donald Trump is right about American universities. So, as popular support for the Biden administration and the Democratic Party plummets further and further just before the 2022 midterm elections, President Joe Biden rapidly announced a new plan for debt forgiveness for student loans. Presently, many of the details of this plan are hazy at best, including how exactly it will be paid for and the total cost of the program, with most estimates ranging between $300 billion to up to $500 billion. Many conservatives are deriding the debt forgiveness plan. Former Lieutenant Governor of New York and former economic advisor to Donald Trump's 2016 presidential campaign, Betsy McCoy, described Biden's plan as a Hail Mary pass to buy votes. And former President Donald J. Trump himself weighed in on the matter, calling the student debt cancellation plan, quote, another election-enhancing money grab, stating that Biden and the radical left Democrats are working to force struggling Americans to, quote, bail out college administrators who fleeced students and those who opted for degrees there was no way they could ever afford. As a dual citizen of both the United States and Israel who has lived in both countries and visited many others, I have the opportunity to look at the issue in a way that is unique for many Americans. And, no surprise, former President Donald J. Trump's concise, scathing comment hits the nail right on the head. In the United States, a bachelor's degree from a state university for a local student costs around $50,000 or higher, and usually at least $100,000 or higher for out-of-state tuition. And Ivy League schools like Harvard and Princeton charge at least $200,000 for an undergraduate degree. These prices are before any kind of grants or scholarships, and they also don't include books, room and board, etc. In contrast, a bachelor's degree from the Hebrew University in Jerusalem, a prestigious college with international recognition, costs less than $10,000 for the entire degree. That's right. After converting shekels to dollars, the price becomes $10,000 total for the entire bachelor's degree. And in Israel, very few people pay that full $10,000 for a degree, since most of the population receives various government subsidies, including benefits for compulsory military service or a national-level community service as a substitute for the draft. Accordingly, Israel is deemed by the OECD, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, as one of the most educated nations on earth, ranking 6th in 2022 and even 3rd in 2018. In both cases, Israel scored higher than the United States. Let's put into perspective. My wife and I are dual citizens of the United States and Israel who are working to build our family, B'ezrat Hashem. If we were to have 3 children, at the present rates we would pay for all of our future children to each earn a bachelor's degree for a grand total of less than $30,000 combined, and that's without anticipated benefits from military service, etc. But for that same $30,000, we could only send one of our future children to study for merely 1 year at a standard college like Arizona State University with out-of-state tuition costs. How is it that a small country of 8 million persons whose economy is up and coming and whose national budget is plagued by enormous defense and security expenditures can manage to provide college degrees to its citizens for a maximum cost of $10,000? Why is college tuition in America 500% to 2,000% higher than in Israel? Why do American college professors and presidents receive salaries in the range of $300,000 to $400,000 a year, or even higher in some cases? Where is all the money going that is brought in from a highly profitable American college sports industry, complete with sporting events, merchandise, and television deals? Israel has no revenue of any significance from college sports, and it still manages to keep the prices exponentially lower. And if universities like Harvard have endowments of over $40 billion, then why is the average American taxpayer being expected to foot the bill for their outrageously overpriced degrees? Former President Donald J. Trump told us exactly why. Because American universities fleece their students. Because college degrees in the United States are a ripoff enabled by the radical left. And government mandates dumping more and more money into these models of fleecing will only enable and even encourage the racket, rather than drive prices down. In Israel, we have something called the Council for Higher Education that imposes price caps on annual tuition based on the CPI, or Consumer Price Index. In other words, universities in Israel don't charge up to $250,000 for a degree because they are prohibited from doing so. Thus, for most Israeli universities, the tuition does not exceed $3,300 per year, and most bachelor's degrees in Israel are completed in 3 years by combining a serious study regimen with strict educational requirements for entry. Israeli higher education shuns the American model in which significant time is wasted on a blend of remedial high school level classes and endless fraternity and sorority parties. Israeli students take the end of their high school seriously and perform any necessary remedial education before enrolling in college. As many have pointed out, student debt cancellation is really the transferring of debt to others who didn't take out the loan or benefit from the service provided. Biden's student debt forgiveness is akin to a person walking into a supermarket and seeing that a gallon of milk costs $20 and a loaf of bread costs $30. Instead of demanding to know why the prices are more than 10 times higher than other grocery stores or shopping elsewhere, that person now forcibly demands that somebody else, even a random woman outside the store who isn't even shopping there, churn over her credit card to him so he can buy his groceries with it. The above scenario would be defined by most people as a mugging. But in the minds of the radical left, Biden working to mug the American taxpayer is called student equity, reasonable socialism, and even a twisted version of supposed morality. Israel, on the other hand, employs a higher education system in which the prices of university degrees are capped at an affordable rate, and population-wide military drafting or other forms of national service are rewarded in various ways, including college tuition assistance. Imagine where we would be in the United States if all college degrees were capped at $10,000. What if university students focused on studying rather than partying? And what if nearly all American young people dedicated several years of their life before college to patriotically serving their nation or at least their communities? We would presumably be in a place where the student debt crisis would be negligible to non-existent, without any need to plunder the American taxpayer. And after mandatory service to help others for 2 or 3 years, many young people in the United States would probably have a much different set of values, perspectives, and ideology than those tenets of self-gratifying Marxism that radical leftist colleges are ramming down the throats of the next generation of Americans. So that's it for tonight. This has been Kerido coming to you from Jerusalem. Over and out, and see you next time. Hey everyone, this is Ben Kerido here to tell you about my brand new book that I wrote with my wife, Surat, called Let's Go Brandon the Novel. It's a satirical parody in the style of Orwell's 1984, The Babylon Bee, and Fauda. It's both a suspenseful and hilarious portrayal of current affairs in the American, Israeli, and Middle Eastern political arenas and military spheres, and includes some delightfully vicious yet comical mockery of Biden, AOC, and many others. For a limited time, the book is being made available for free or heavily discounted to our readers. Check it out on Amazon or visit our website, itowerpublishing.com. Links in the video description.